Hi, everybody. Today, A Star is Born is coming out. Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. I totally look forward to this movie. So I thought I'm gonna read my version, the first chapter of my version of this movie in my head. This is the version of this movie, Six String, which is about a 16-year-old teenager who escapes an abusive home. She runs away with only her guitar on her back, and a dream in her heart. Chapter 1. Runaway. My guitar seldom had all 6 strings. One was always missing, sometimes more than one. My uncle had given it to me when I was in first grade. It was a medium-sized one, and I had trouble reaching all the way around it, never mind playing chords. It was purple, with 2 large butterflies painted on either side of the sound hole, decorated later with black marker by yours truly, turning butterflies into strange birds, then bats, and later on large black blobs. The ink of the marker would stick to my hands and forearms. I don't think anybody noticed. The surface was scratched up, beaten. I had sat on it, stood on it, rolled over on it, and dropped it from my bunk bed. It fell into the bathtub once, and the neighbor's dog dragged it across the dusty street of our trailer park. The fabric strap lost threads until it fell apart and was replaced by an older leather belt. But it was mine, wholly mine. It moved 9 times with me, or 10, I can't remember. There was a 2-day stay in a motel in Green River, Utah, where my father had taken me and my 2 brothers. The police came on the 2nd day and kicked in the door. At least, that's what it sounded like. We were in the bathroom at the time. I sat on the toilet seat, and my 2 brothers cowered in the empty bathtub waiting for the yelling to stop. The overly nice lady from social services looked at me, then the guitar I held, and back again at me. She made the same face I make when I eat something I don't like. "Please, let me keep it," I whispered. I repeated it several times until she finally told me that I could keep it, at least for now. Each kid at the shelter had a raggedy teddy bear, a small stuffed horse, or some kind of doll. I kept the guitar. It had 1 string left by then. You can't play a guitar with only 1 string. My father went to jail and my mom into rehab. I was in 7th grade when we went back to my mother. She was sober and stayed that way until I was 16. We had moved into a small bungalow in Twin Falls, Idaho. Little Johnny, my youngest brother, had just turned 13. He did well at school, but he was quiet and rarely went out with his friends, unlike my older brother Ben. Johnny was often sick, and I remember spending countless hours in the doctor's waiting room looking at a huge aquarium embedded in the wall. But Johnny had the sweetest voice. He sang with me at night. Someone had given me a set of old strings that we boiled in hot water. Afterwards, they sounded almost like new. Johnny and I sat under a comforter with a small flashlight. I played the guitar and we both sang. The Animals, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Sting, Queen, Alanis Morissette. We had 50 songs in our repertoire, easy. We got a gig at the local fair that spring and sang and played our hearts out in front of 15 people under umbrellas. Halfway through the 4th song, it rained so hard we had to leave the stage. Early that summer, I remember an empty, cloudless sky and a wind that made leaves dance in the air. Johnny was playing out back. He was always building some contraption out of other people's garbage, and he had taken the clothesline off one of the wheels and was climbing a tree with it. We don't know what he was doing up there or why he took that thin rope with him, but my mother found him hanging from a branch upside down and tangled in the rope. She began drinking again at his funeral. The first few weeks after he died, I felt as if some part of me had been cut out. Someone had taken a sharp knife and carved it out of me, and now there was a missing piece, and I couldn't imagine myself going on without it. The pain was a clawed monster that gripped me in its arms like a child and wouldn't leave. It lay in bed with me at night and was there when I woke up in the morning. It came with me when I went grocery shopping, and it accompanied me to the bathroom. I had a series of images in my head during that time. One was of me standing at the stern of a large boat, maybe a cruise ship. We traveled somewhere in the Arctic. My breath was tiny ice crystals against the dark night sky. Then I have fallen from the boat into the water and nobody notices, nobody even heard the splash. As I floated in the cold, black water and I look up at the ship, its yellow lights spilling out from the cabins and people on it laugh and talk to each other as if nothing had happened. It moved away from me and disappeared into the night. The lights faded, and the lights and the sounds faded with it. I felt utterly alone. The first time I played my guitar after Johnny's death, 2 strings broke. One snapped violently, leaving a red welt on my hand. The other came apart slowly, disintegrating over the course of a few minutes. E, A, G, and E were left. I wrote my first song that day. It wasn't a good song, but I simply couldn't bear the pain any longer. I needed to get it out of me, purge it, and put it somewhere it wouldn't hurt anymore. I thought the sound hole of my guitar was as good a place as any. So I wrote a song, and I played it on 4 strings, hoping to take the pain away. Tears ran down my face as I wrote it, and I had to stop a few times to catch my breath when I sang it for the first time. It was lousy poetry, and the pain didn't leave. It didn't disappear into the sound hole, and it wasn't released into the world. It stayed with me. I feel it lingering still. I don't remember Johnny's face anymore, but I can hear his beautiful, clear voice next to me when I play sometimes. My older brother Ben enlisted in the army. "Take care of yourself," is all he said when he left on the bus to Fort Sill for basic training. You'd think it would have been quiet in our house now that Mom and I were alone. But it wasn't quiet. It got loud. Very loud. There was a place she went to when she was drunk, a place she couldn't remember afterwards. Somewhere around the middle part of the gin bottle. The top part made her talkative. The middle part made her scream. The bottom made her pass out. I pleaded with her for weeks. I begged her. I held her. Then I ran away. She was asleep when I left the house. I thought about leaving her a note, but I didn't. I couldn't. I knew if I had started writing it, I would have said things I couldn't take back. Like a thief in the night, I took my guitar and threw a few things into a backpack. I snuck out of the house at first light and walked across the bridge over the Snake River. Interstate 84 was only a few miles away. Part of me wanted to turn back. I was the only one left and my mom could probably use my help, but I kept walking, as if a great force inside me set one foot in front of the other without my doing. I hitched a ride to a rest area less than 10 miles away. The very kind older man, who had told me initially that he'd only get as far as the next exit, said I'd have a better chance to catch another ride at the rest stop rather than an exit. So he drove me another few miles to the next one. He didn't ask questions, but he did point out that I only had 4 strings on my guitar and that wasn't the way it was supposed to be, so he gave me $10 to buy strings. I came very close to asking him if he could drive me back home. One last goodbye for Johnny. Smile that smiley smile for me one more time. Say nothing for a while. Dance in the rain outside. I heard your breath at night as we lay side by side. I saw your face all quiet in the bright moonlight. Smile that smiley smile for me one more time. Say nothing for a while. Dance in the rain outside. Are you now far away or just close by? I wish that I could say one last goodbye. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.